Before we begin, maybe we can all daven together. Pesach libi b'sorasecha. Hashem communicates to each and every one of us. Pesach libi b'sorasecha. To open our heart, hu yiftach libenu b'soraso. It's not so much the intellect. It's not the intellect of understanding, but it's Hashem wants to communicate to each and every one of us. And Hashem has so much to say to each and every one of us, to be close to us, just like we want to be close to Him. And we daven, Avinu Avarachaman. It's the only time in Tefillah where we say, Avinu Avarachaman. Hashem has Rachmanis, He has so much mercy. Pesach libi b'sorasecha. To open our heart as we're going to talk together. As the Rogatchover, one of the tzaddikim said, when you daven, you're talking to Hashem. And when we learn Torah, Hashem is talking to us. Pesach libi b'sorasecha is a tefillah for all of us here tonight, that our hearts can be open, that Hashem can open our hearts. Because when your heart is open, that's why it's nice to sing together. I was just telling Yehuda that I don't think we posted it because it was our last shiur on was it on Thursday?
Yeah, Wednesday?
Wednesday or Thursday, I don't remember. The last shiur, and I'm sitting with Yehuda now, sitting together with all of you, all of us, and we continue to ask Hashem, Pesach libi b'sorasecha. Imagine if our hearts, it's so beautiful. Sometimes the Torah is sometimes kasha, sometimes it's hard. We don't want it to be hard, we want it to be soft. We want it to be at Pesach loy. We want it to be with love. We want it to be that we're able to hear, we're able to experience We're able to feel what Hashem wants to communicate to us. So let us daven together. Avinu Avarachman.
Avinu Avraham Aleinu Avinu Avraham Rachem Rachem Aleinu Avinu Avraham
Your mom's here? She's here? I did thy nafshi, Avinu Avraham, I I did thy nafshi, Avinu Avraham, Avinu Avraham, He looks good. He looks good. You look good. I did thy nafshi, Avinu Avraham, I did thy nafshi, Avinu Thank you, Avi. Thank you. Do I need the mic? No mic? No mic. Okay. No mic. No. Oh, today's Monday.
No mic
No
Monday.
mic Monday. Okay. You know, it's nice to talk. It's nice to share, especially Torah. Torah is so beautiful to share, to talk together. Bez Hashem. Hopefully afterwards, we could have maybe a little bit of a discussion. But sometimes when we sing, no, I can't wait to give it. When I see you, is my nephew. Ay. Haboicher b'shirei zimra, Reb Simcha Bunim. Reb Simcha Bunim says, Reb Simcha Bunim from Pshischa says, Haboicher b'shirei zimra is that we have so much inside of us, each and every one of us. So it's beautiful to talk. It's beautiful to talk, to share. But sometimes when we talk, we lose. You tell someone, I love you. Your mother tells you she loves you. You tell your wife you love her. You tell your children. You tell your spouse, I love you. You tell Hashem, I love you. Hashem tells us He loves us. Do we understand what that means? Haboicher b'shirei zimra. Reb Simcha Bunim says that Hashem chooses the shirayim of the zimra. It's what you don't express. That's the connection. That's the connection that Hashem has. That two people who love each other, who feel connected. That's why the closer you are with someone, the more you don't have to say anything. When you're uncomfortable with somebody, you have to talk and talk and talk. A lot of people talk and talk and talk, but they're really uncomfortable just to be quiet. Because it's uncomfortable to be quiet, because it's so deep. It's very deep just to be next to somebody, just to sit, to sing. Haboicher b'shirei zimra. Hashem chooses the shirayim, the leftover of what I express. It's not what we express. Sometimes just coming together. I'm humbled, I'm fresh. I told Avi I said it's Shavuos night for me. It's 3:45 in the morning. I just, Baruch Hashem, landed this afternoon. And I said, Baruch Hashem, I'm zocheh to start off my trip like Shavuos night, starting off Torah. Get down. It's good to see some faces over here. A close friend of mine, mamish like a brother, Adam Cohn. Literally, we grew up, we knew each other as little kids, from little kids. It's very, there's something you guys know from the Gemara, there's something called the Girsa D'Yankasa. Girsa D'Yankasa means when you learn something and it's fresh, when you're a little kid. That's the challenge of trauma. The challenge of trauma, that sounds like a good challenge of trauma, that goes together. The challenge of trauma, right? It's not the challenge, you're not going to say the challenge of trauma. It would be like the ichiness of trauma. That's too nice to say, like the challenge of trauma. But one of the challenges of trauma is when you're young. When you're young, you're so impressionable. Girsa D'Yankasa. Girsa means to learn. Yankasa. When you're younger and you don't have all of these stuff. You don't have all the stuff going on. And you're just naive and you're fresh. So it goes either way. You either get a lot of love or you get messed up in a certain way with a lack of love, whatever it is. I don't know if we're going to talk about that tonight. Who knows? Who knows what we'll talk about? But the pshat is what? The pshat is, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful to connect. So beautiful to connect. So beautiful to connect that everyone came out. We're coming out on a Monday night. Coming out on a Monday night. I have to give a huge yashakarach. I just met, I think we've met before. It's got to be. These things don't just happen. I want to thank Rav Mordechai Aryeh. Thank you so much. Mordechai Aryeh, thank you so much. When you do, okay. Fine, maybe from the back end. Hey asu v'agida lachem. Hey asu v'agida lachem. We all want something. We all come together because we want something. We all come together because we're thirsty. We're thirsty because we're mevakshim. We want. And it's ironic that just coming together, as Yaakov Avinu told Klal Yisrael, as Yaakov Avinu told his children, Hey asvu v'agida lachem. Hey asvu. Shmuel. Hey asvu. Just come together. Just come together. Yidden, Jews, coming together on a Monday night. Coming together. Everyone's busy. Everyone has stuff going on, but coming together for one reason. One reason. Because we want more. We want to heal. Especially now, the last few years. But befrat, anyone who's in Eretz Yisrael, I know everyone felt it here as well. We have to try as much as we can. And I'm talking to myself, not in that classic way that where the Rebbe says he's talking to himself. I know that that's like not fair that I'm doing that, but I'm saying when Jews are killed, when a soldier is killed, and the news, I know I've spoken about this, but I can't. I know I can't talk enough about it because it's so important to chazer over that we have to be so sensitive to how we consume the news. And I'm not saying it b'derech musar, like the news, I'm saying it from a sensitivity. We have to really be so sensitive what we look at in the news. When we hear bad news, we have to be so sensitive because we don't want to chas v'shalom. We don't want to chas v'shalom read something that this soldier, Mir Hashem, we won't read anymore that any soldier, anything happens to a soldier, to our brother, to our sister, to our family. Mamish. Achenu kol beis Yisrael. That's why I wanted to daven and sing together. Achenu kol beis Yisrael. We have to be machazik ourselves. We have to be machazik ourselves. That I don't want to chas v'shalom be insensitive. When I hear there's a story that they say a story that someone once had to identify their someone in their family who was killed. And they said, will you come to identify the soldier who was killed? And the person says, I will not come to identify. And they said, why not? Come identify if this is your family member, Rahman al-Islam, who was killed. And he says, I will not come and identify. And they said, why not? And he says, because if it's not my family member, I'm going to be a little bit happy and relieved. I'm going to be happy and relieved that it wasn't my family member. And I don't want to have any happiness or any relief that it's not my family member and a Klal Yisrael, a Jew, one of our brothers and sisters was killed. And I know that it's not something that we're not insensitive to. I know we're all sensitive to that. But the Yetzer Hara gets us in there. And the Yetzer Hara doesn't want us to like we said before, Pesach libi b'sorasecha. The Yetzer Hara doesn't want me to feel. The Yetzer Hara wants to detach. As we know, Amalek, they say that's why Esav's head is buried in the Marsa Machpelah. Esav's head, because Amalek is Malashon Malika, is to separate, as the Tzanzer Rebbe, the Heilige Divrei Chaim. We were zoicha to be there this year. Some of us were zoicha to be in Tzanz together by the Divrei Chaim, the Heilige Divrei Chaim. Someone asked him, "What do you do for a living?" And he said, "I build bridges." He said, "You don't build bridges?" He says, "Yes, I'm always building a bridge from my head to my heart. V'yadata hayoim v'hashevoisa el levavecha." Amalek is Malika, is Malika, like you do to a bird where you sever the neck and you disconnect the head from the heart. We disconnect. We disconnect the head from the heart. That's the Ikar Avodah. We hear. Listen. I'm trying to listen myself. Pesach libi b'sorasecha. I don't want to have my head over there and my head looking at the news, or my head this and my heart is not connected. Imagine if every tefillah, our diburim, our words were connected to our heart. And I'm not saying it b'derech musar. Please understand, I'm not saying it b'derech musar. Oh, you got chas v'shalom. I'm just saying we live at a time where we hear so much about Klal Yisrael, and it's so important to be tuned into our emotion. And if you're not tuned into your emotion, welcome to planet Earth. Welcome to 2025. Welcome to a time where it's difficult for us to feel. It's difficult. But we together, we're coming together. Hey, Asfu, just to come together, to sing together, to pray together. Avinu Avarachman. I didn't even plan it out like that. Pesach libi b'sorasecha. I want to be close. I want to connect my head to my heart. I want what I say. My saying is in my head. Dvarim shebalev nichnasim lelev. Words of the heart go into someone else's heart. Imagine if you could apologize to someone who you love. And imagine if you could feel it, if you could mean it. Imagine if you could hear. Imagine if you could. I'm going to give one practical thing that I try myself to do. And it's hard to talk about the future. Mir Hashem, like I said, it shouldn't be no geya, no Jew, no Yid should suffer, should have any pain. But before you open up to look at something, to prepare yourself. What am I going to see? I don't want it to be. They say the tzaddikim in the Holocaust, they say they didn't want to hear any news. I don't want to hear any news because what can I do about it? If I can't do anything about it, kol shechachmasam meruba mamasav, ein chachmasam miskayemes. I don't want to know something and I can't do something about it. And I can't act out of it. So before all of us, as we're sitting together, it's so special to sit here. It's so special to be together. I was thinking as we were singing Pesach libi b'sorasecha, right? L'chayro hu yiftach. I mean, in Valetzion we say hu yiftach libenu b'sorasei. Pesach libi b'sorasecha is very personal, but the truth is, there's the lave of Klal Yisrael. We're all one. How could it be that we could be in so much pain for someone who lives in a different country, and we can mamish? Hashem should help us. Hashem will help us. Hashem will help us. Hashem will continue to help us to connect our minds to our hearts. Hashem will help us to connect it, to connect our chachma to our bina, which is interesting. Interesting. That's the relationship with a spouse. Is when someone suffers from a relationship issues and problems that a person has, it's like there's like a disconnect. There's a disconnect. It's not a Shalom Bayis shiur is on Sundays. So it's Monday. There's no Mike Monday. But on Sundays, we talk about that, how that disconnect between the heart and the seichel. How many times you speak to someone and they're talking seichel and you're talking emotion? Or you're talking emotion, they're talking seichel, whatever, however it works. It's I don't get you. You're trying to fix it. I'm trying to feel. Anyone who's been to therapy, and this is, I don't know if there are any therapists out here, but you could tell your therapist if you're in therapy. But I'm just telling you, if you're most of the time, the way it works is in therapy is that before therapy. Let me go before therapy. The way it usually works is we don't want to feel, and we want to understand. We want to understand. I want to understand. I'm anxious, right? I don't know when that word's we're gonna have to get rid of that word soon. Anxiety, like trauma. We'll have to come up with a new word, right? I'm scared. I'm not going to use the word anxious, because anxious is a bad word to use for people who are anxious, and we're all anxious. I'm saying I happen right now not to be anxious, but I'm excited. I'm feeling like good energy, but that's one and the same, by the way. Anxiety and excitement. I could send it out. Maybe we'll send out. There's a great clip on that the feeling of anxiety and the feeling of excitement are the same feeling. If you ask a kid, are they excited? I just lost my train of thought. Someone's got to get me back. Sorry. Oh, therapy. Let's get back to therapy. So the way it works is like this. Usually your brain, especially us Yidden, and we're big thinkers, usually your brain is going to want to trump your feelings. And a lot of times what happens is you want to understand, why are you anxious? Where is it coming from? So anyone who's a seasoned client or a seasoned human being who's been to therapy, who wants to understand their feelings, don't try and understand. Imagine your child is riding their bike and they fall off their bike and they were being irresponsible. They were being irresponsible and they took the wrong turn and they fall off and they scratch their knee and they're bleeding, and you go over and you right away go over to your son or your daughter and you say, I want to explain to you why it happened. I want to explain to you what happened. We would say, Aleph Beis, no, you don't do that. What you do is, are you okay? Are you okay? Ouch. Show empathy. It's the same with ourselves. Same exact thing with ourselves. Same exact thing with ourselves. Same exact thing. So I'm nervous. Okay. So I'm nervous. So I'm nervous. So I'm worried. So I'm insecure. I'm self-conscious. I don't have to understand. What do I have to understand? I'm like that because of my mother. I'm like that because of your father. I'm like that because of my childhood. I'm like that. Good. Could be. That's connecting the seichel to the lave. It's putting a connection to the two. Okay. The main point that I wanted to share, that was all like an intro, so I hope everyone's comfortable over here. I just want to share really I don't have the right time here. Could you show me the right time? It's 9:00, right? And then maybe we could do a little questions, comments. The reason, by the way, for anyone who's listened to the old shiurim, a few years back, I used to ask more question comments. The reason I said question comments, I'm sure you remember. The reason I like question comments is for this very reason. And Bli Neder, you'll remind me. Bli Neder, I want to go back to that a little bit more. Question comments. Why? Not everyone likes it as far as the shiurim, people who listen to the shiurim, I don't know if they like it, they don't like it. But I'll tell you what I like about question and comments. Did we do that back in the day? Yisrael, Naftali, we did that back in the day? You know, it's too long ago to remember, right? Question comments is exactly what I'm saying. When you talk about something, when you just have information, when you're just being thrown at information, another shiur, another pshat, it can't go into the heart. It's very hard to go into the pshat. It's like over, you're like, what do they say, OD? Is that like they call that? OD? How do they say it? How would you say that? What would be the context? How would you say it? You OD'd on... No, you don't say it like that. It's OD. It's OD. It's OD. It's OD. All the information, all the news is OD. Right? It's OD. What does that mean? It's too much information. You gave me too much information. You gave me too much information. I can't process. How many of us in school, we thought we were stupid, or we thought we were whatever, because the teacher... I have to say the story. It's an old classic story. I haven't said it in a long time. I heard this many years ago. Classic story. Remind me to get back on point. Just because I was thinking about teacher. No, because it's so important when you have students and you have children. It's the same exact thing. Where the kid comes and he says he's failing. I love this story. I remember I was standing in front of my shver's, 1133 Sage Street. I think Rabbi Feiner, I don't want to say it b'shem Omrei, if maybe I'm not saying it exactly, but I think he told me the story over, it must be at least 15 years ago, at least. That he told me the story of the kid who's failing in school. Maisha, could be you know this story from me from back in the day. The kid's failing in school. He's jumping off. Why? Because he's got too much information. You're giving me too much information. Slow down. Let's talk about it. So what happened? The kid comes to school, he's failing. So they take him to the psychiatrist and they say he's got ADD. And we all know, or ADHD will do it. We all know Ephraim just got married actually 2 weeks ago during the war. We were actually in a bomb shelter during his chassan tish with Ephraim Sendler that he made up, right? For all of you who know the shiurim ADHD, we don't believe in ADHD. We call it, Moshe, you're going to love this. We call it AAEIC, above average energy, imagination, and creativity. Whoever said ADHD, that your attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, was an angry, negative psychiatrist. Sorry, no offense to whoever made that up. Who has ADHD? A little kid, he's jumping the walls. I think Rabbi Yosef said the wilder the kid and the more the kid is jumping around, the bigger the neshama. He's just in a little small body, so he's got to get a little bigger, and then his neshama will fit his body. So this kid is jumping off the walls. He's got AAEIC, above average energy, imagination, and creativity. Above average energy, imagination, some say intellect and creativity. I threw that one in. I wanted to have a chelik in his shot. So what they say? Go to the doctor. So the doctor prescribed him with whatever, one of the medications. So he says, take this for a month. So he said, great. A month goes by, and what happens? He's doing amazing in school. It works. Give the kid medication. I'm not getting into, medication. No, maybe that's a question we could talk about. Medication. No medication. But he gave him medication. And the guy, you heard the story? Oh, you're going to love it. If you didn't hear the story, there's a keeper. So what happened? The kid says, I'm good. He's all good. So they go back to the psychiatrist, say, let's refill the medicine. So what does he do? He comes back and he says, okay, we got to refill the medication. So he says, do you have any side effects taking it? He goes, taking it? The kid says, taking it? What are you talking about? He says, what do you mean taking it? What are you talking about? He said, my mother told me that I should give the medication to my Rebbe. Now my Rebbe asks me to make him a coffee every day. So what I did was I dropped the medication in the coffee. So my Rebbe was taking ADHD medication, above average energy, imagination, creativity, and guess who started listening? That's a great story. That's one of my favorites. Why is that one of my favorite stories? It's one of my favorite stories. It's one of my favorite stories. Why is it a great story? It's a great story for two reasons. It's a great story for the teacher and for the parent and for the counselor and for the adult, so to speak. It's a great story for the child. Because it teaches us that too much information, not having the connection. What are people missing? What are we all missing? We're all missing psach libi. We're all missing a heart. We're all missing connection. I don't mean that in a negative way. We're missing. That's what we want. We just want to be close. We want to understand. Bina shabalev. We want to understand each other. We want to understand. Don't just give me information. Give me pnimius. Give me deeper. Give me depth. Give me your soul. Give me your love. Give me your connection. Okay. How did I get into that story? I don't remember how I got into the story. What? Mm-hmm. I just want to say one shot, and then maybe we could go through some question comments because let's go on. I just want to share one shot. In this week's parsha, it's a famous. I've said this over many. This is from old school Rabbi Fogel. Old school. It's a medrash. I'm saying for me, it's old school. It's Girsa Diankis a little. Old medrash is pretty old school. What I mean is for myself. For myself, I heard this. Rabbi Garfield. Wow. Rabbi Garfield knew you. I'm embarrassed. Rabbi Garfield. Did you hear that story?
I just want to.
Oh, he missed
watch
the story.
I got it.
Okay. Thank you. Wow, what an honor. Rabbi Garfield, wow. What an honor. What? The what? Yeah. Wow, what a schus. It's Rabbi Garfield from Houston. He's from Houston. Wow. He just put out a book. You want to get it for 1 second? You know the book he just put out? That's what he just came to from Art Scroll, Mamash Min Hashamayim. When they were young. Stories of our Golim and children when they were young. We were just talking about that. And guaranteed. And if it's not true, I'll speak to Rabbi Garfield. It's a lie. Chelech loy raisa. The kid who has the most energy. I did a piece in Rib Tzaddik on the plane. You saw the new Tzidkas HaTzadik? I got to show you the new Tzidkas HaTzadik. They have a whole, it's like a Mesifta Tzidkas HaTzadik. He has a whole piece that he talks about. It's not for now, because we'll definitely get thrown off with this. Tzidkas HaTzadik says that when you see that you have a midah ra, that's AAEIC, that you have something that you hate about yourself. You have something that a taiva, he says it, Reb Tzaddik says it straight out. You are the biggest Baal taiva. He says, don't be upset. Don't be upset. Be excited. Because what you have to do is once you realize that that's from Hashem, it's from Hashem. And you're able to access Hashem in that. Again, it's not for now. But I think it's incredible that a child, don't be afraid of your childhood stuff. Don't be afraid of your childhood stuff. And I know it's scary. I know that's not a nice way to say it. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. It's okay to be, so I'm saying the exact opposite. It's okay to be afraid of your childhood stuff. It's okay. What do I mean by that? It's okay that you have stuff. None of your taiva stuff, none of your insecurities come from a negative place. You don't have to push it away. You don't have to get rid of it. Don't get rid of it. Realize where it comes from. It comes from Hashem. Your mother comes from Hashem. Your father comes from Hashem. Your childhood, your siblings, the way you had it upbringing, it's all from Hashem. Okay, it hurts. It's difficult when we have pain, when we have traumas, when we when we have difficulties that we've been through. When I say it's all from Hashem, that doesn't mean not to deal with it. Fakir, it's the opposite. Okay, maybe that'll get into our discussion a little bit. The Medrash says, Mi yitain Torah in this week's parsha. How do you get, and I quote the Medrash, how do I get, V'zoyus chukas, Mi yitain Torah mitame loy echad. It's a pasuk in Iyov. How do I get tahara from tumah? We know the para aduma is a paradox. How do I get from tumah tahara? Look what the examples the Medrash says. Kagoyin Avraham miterach. How do I get an Avram Avinu from Terach? How do I get Avram? Mitchila oivdei avodah zara is talking about Avram Avinu. How do I get an Avram Avinu? How do I get a Sarah? How do I get an Avram and Sarah? Our parents, our grandparents. How does that come from Tumah? How do I get that from Tumah? What's another example? Yisrael me'ovdei kachavim. The Jewish people out of the Goyim. Olam haba me'olam hazeh. How do I get to Olam haba from a place like this? From a dark, this place is called Olam HaSheker. It's called Laila. It's dark. It's darkness. It's lies. Yitzchak Avinu, they say, was blind. One of the pshatim, they say that he was blind. Is mitoich yirasi simchasi, the Tanna B'Eliyahu says. What does that mean? He was blind. He didn't want to look at Olam Hazeh. He didn't want to be connected to the Sheker. He was totally davik to the emes. The tzaddikim, all of us, v'amich kulam tzaddikim, when you see a person and you dan them l'kaf schus, and you see the beauty in another Jew. We were talking about it before. We have to work on that more and more. It's not just something that you get, that you see the beauty in someone. They say the Chidush Yarim took them 16 years, I think they say, working on seeing the toiv, to see the good in your mother, to see the good in your father, to see the good in your spouse, to see the good in your children, to see the good in your siblings. It takes work. It takes work. It takes hard work. So how do I get Olam HaEmes? How do I get Tahara, Kedusha from this world? What does the pasuk say? Lo echad. Hashem. Hashem can do it. You're right. You're right. How are you going to do tshuva? How are you going to do tshuva? You messed up. People have shame. They've hurt other people. They've hurt other people. They've been hurt. They've spoken Lashon Hara. What do? That's that famous story about Lashon Hara. We should actually do a Hilchos Lashon Hara. Lashon Hara, what do? What's the famous mashal? The Chavetz Chaim says, take a bag, take a pillow, take out the feathers, and put it on the doorsteps in the neighborhood. And the guy says, okay, what am I going to do? The next day he comes and he can't find where the feathers are. Says the Chavetz Chaim, that's what happens. So a person spoke Lashon Hara, what are you going to do? You spoke Lashon Hara before you learned purity of speech. Before, Baruch Hashem, someone told me recently, they started in their yeshiva, they do purity of speech. I tell everybody this. I'm telling everybody this, mamish, as an individual thing in your home. People want to know, what do I put in my home? You know what you put in your home? You learn purity of speech. You don't speak Lashon Hara. Your home is not a place. No one's home is a place of Lashon Hara. We don't talk about anybody but each other. That's a home. That's a Yiddish home. We don't speak about anybody. Lo echad, only Hashem. Only Hashem. Only Hashem. Only Hashem is able to take us out. Only Hashem, lo echad. Only Hashem, we've done Averis. A person's done Averis. A person's done things. How do you get it? Leiv tahar barali aleikim. V'ruach nochen chadesh bekirbi. How? How do I do it? How do I do it? How do I do it? So it hit me many years ago. Lo echad doesn't just mean Hashem. Lo echad means I can't do it alone. Lo echad means Echad means I need help. I need someone to help me. If I can realize, and the irony of the paraduma, what's the irony of the paraduma? The one who's mitayar becomes tameh. The one who's mitameh becomes tahar. What's good for you might not be good for me. You might be an introvert. This one might be an extrovert. We spoke about this in Shalom Bayis. Yeah, that's right. Introvert, extrovert. Guaranteed you'll marry probably the opposite. Whether it's on the resume or not. It'll switch once you're married. Hariad Mekudeshes Li, after you get married, it'll switch. That's the way Hashem works. Introvert, extrovert. An introvert is more solitude. The extrovert likes to socialize more. It's always like that. That's how Hashem makes us work on ourselves. Mi'itein tar mitame, you want to change? You want to change? As one of my, Baruch Hashem, I had this matana this year of this quote. Baruch Hashem, a gift from Hashem. You have to be willing to do it alone. You have to be willing to stand alone. You have to be like an Avram Avinu, like a Shaare Emunah. You have to say, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get there. I'm going to accomplish. I'm going to become tahar. I'm going to change. But you can't do it alone. You cannot do it alone. Lo echad. If you want to come from tumah to tahara, lo echad. Impossible. Impossible to do it alone. You need your spouse. You need a mentor. Kanei lecha chaver. You need a friend. Aseh lecha rav. This coming together. It's not cute. It's not cute for me when people come over to me. It's not a nice thing that I say, people listen to this shiurim and we're here together. Oh, it's a chizuk for me. It's the same thing. I struggle with the same thing. We all struggle with the same stuff. We all struggle. The difference is Hashem gifted me that I could do it this way and you could do it this way. When I lean this way, you can lean this way. And that's what gets us angry in our relationships. That's what gets us angry in our relationships. Is because we want everybody to be just like us. But that's the beauty, lo echad. If you want to change, if you want to grow, no matter what you've been through, no matter how much dirt, no matter how much pain, no matter how much challenges, no matter what you've been through, there's always someone, especially us, together. Look at this, Kanai Naharu on a Monday night, a regular Monday night, coming together for what? Just this alone. Just coming together alone to say that I'm not alone. And one of the hardest things for a person to do, is to say, I need help. One of the most powerful things for a person to do, is to say, I need help. And I've never, ever. I love when somebody comes to me. I love when someone comes to me. This is going to sound a little funny. I love when someone comes to me and says, I'm struggling with something. I'm like, okay, what are you struggling with? Slow, let's take it slow. I have trouble waking up in the morning for chakras. I'm like, I never heard that one before. I'm like, well, you're joking. Could you give me something better than that? I have trouble because I want everyone, I'm a people pleaser. I'm like, I have trouble with we could go through the list and everyone's going to be like, yeah, of course. I said, no, but not me. No, but you got to hear mine. I don't want to give an ayin hara. I'm like, did you murder anyone? I don't want to say an ayin hara. Right? Tomorrow someone's going to come over to me. Chas v'shalom. But what's the pshat? I said this to guys. Oh, you bow down to any idols? Bow down to any idols. Say, okay, we struggle. Loi echad. Mi'itei tar mitame, you can get out of it. They say Yetzias Mitzrayim, and I'll end off with this, and then we could do a few question comments. Mitzrayim. How did they get at it? They say one of the second. They said that Moshe Rabbeinu made it. They say Mizbar Shir Yom HaShabbos. I think the Medrash says Mizbar Shir Yom HaShabbos. Had they make it in Mitzrayim? It was crazy. They used to get together Shabbos. They used to get together, just sit together. That's why we have it on our sweatshirt. People had them. Someone sent me a voice note recently. They had a whole. It was great. No, it wasn't. Someone sent me a whole. 3 guys were discussing because on the sweatshirts we put this year, better to walk with someone in the dark than to walk alone in the light. So I got a message. Right, I'll say it again. I don't want to be chachman. Just say it. Better to walk with someone. Together with someone in the dark than alone in the light. So someone, Mamish, 2 days ago sent me a whole message. We were talking about, I was like, I love that. Good. They were talking, what does that mean? Pashup Shot with that, maybe we'll get into a discussion about it. Pashup Shot is we all go through stuff. We all go through stuff. We need each other. When's the last time someone went over to somebody and said, I need you, and they didn't feel good about it? Who doesn't feel good to be needed? I need you. I need you to help me. We're afraid because Yetzer Hara doesn't want to say those words. I need you. I need your help. I'm going through a difficult time. I need your advice. Hashem should help us all. We should be zoicha. We could do some question, comments. Hashem should help us all to continue. Hey, asu v'agida lachem, mi'yitein tar mitame loy echad. You're not alone. We're all in this together. We have each other. What we all go through, Let's do a quick Hilchos Lashon Hara. How crazy, how beautiful is that to do a Hilchos Lashon Hara? Get on the chat if you're not on the chat. There Kenai Nahara. There are 371 people on the Purity of Speech chat. We'll send it out. One who causes additional, this is Rechilas. Someone who causes Rechilas is when you don't speak Lashon Hara. Lashon Hara is just when you say this person, right? And just to remind us, Lashon Hara means it's true. It's true. The person actually acted a certain way, and it might be true. That's Lashon Hara. Lashon Hara doesn't mean it's not true. And Rechilas is not saying something negative about someone. It's saying, did you hear what this person said about you? So one who causes additional hatred between people who are already enemies in the past is Rechilas. Why? Because his words are adding fuel to the fire. If through one's comments one awakens ill feelings, then we are guilty of talking Rechilas. For example, you know that when your neighbor borrowed your friend's vacuum cleaner, the front got smashed. At a later date, you mentioned to your friend, when some people borrow vacuum cleaners, they're not so careful how they handle them. Even though you didn't mention any names, you just spoke Rechilas. By the way, that's an interesting halach in Hilchos Lashon Hara. I just want to tell everybody. People don't know this. If someone's telling you something about someone and you don't know who the person is, this is like a crazy halacha. I don't mean crazy in that way. It's a pretty incredible halacha. If someone's talking and saying something about someone and you don't even mention the person's not even mentioning the person's name, and you are going like, yeah, that person's terrible. Yeah. That's Lashon Hara. Why? Because the person himself knows who they're talking about. So when you add and say, yeah, it's negative, you're fueling Lashon Hara. Incredible halacha. Okay, Hashem should help us all. Question, comments? We don't have to have question, comments.
It's like a Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the future of mental health care from communities should prioritize? Is it research to figure out common solutions? Is it resources? Education?
That's a great question. This might be a little bit of a cheap answer, so I apologize. I'm not really holding so much in the world of like the whole mental I'm not like holding. How do you say that? Like that's like a yeshiva shit. I'm not holding. I'm not. How do we say that in English? No, Shmuel. How do I say it in English? I'm not. How do I say that in your office? How would they say it? I'm not.
Well versed.
I'm not what?
Well versed.
I'm not holding. you say it like that, okay?
My mom is like one term for it.
I know, no.
I was saying, oh, no, wait, that's what you were saying. I was saying that I could.
Right. I don't. I think collectively, just humbly, I think collectively we have to learn. I think we have to learn to be. This is like a strong word. We have to learn to be like honest with where we're at. I think that whether you're going to go from cognitive, because it's going to bounce back. A lot of people who suffer. I heard this recently with a girl, a relative of mine, who was talking to me about their challenges with anxiety and going to a psychiatrist. And she was saying that there's another girl also who reached out to me about this, that the anxiety was very much helped with CBT. CBT is an older model, right? Cognitive behavioral therapy. Now it's more somatic. People are focusing, like we were talking about, more on feelings. So there is going to be a bounce back of cognitive. I think at the end of the day, and again, I don't like talking so much because I'm not holding in the world of like psychology. I'm just holding by trying to be Yoni, to be me, to be like me. And I think when a therapist and a mentor or any professional who's in the field of helping another person, whether they're using behavioral therapy or they're using IFS or they're using some, new somatic therapy, whatever it might be. I think when you come as a honest person and a caring and a loving and a sincere person, I think that's 90%. And again, I don't like making stuff like that, but I think that that's all everyone's looking for. Empathy, honesty, someone to be there for them. Yes, there are skills that are very, very important skills. But it's like if someone wants to know, what do I do to be a great mother? What do I do to be a great father? What do I do? Yes, that's a marvelous question. You need tools. At the same time, when we learn ourselves, when we learn to learn ourselves, when we're invested in ourselves, and I don't mean in a selfish way, when we're invested in my personal growth, when I'm invested in my development with myself, and any parent knows your relationship with your children and your relationship with is all a flow of your relationship with your spouse, your relationship at work, your relationship with yourself. I hope that was, I respect the question. Thank you. Yeah.
Back to when you mentioned like connecting your heart to your mind, you were gonna say something practically, and I just want to understand what you would tell guys, like, because especially nowadays, you mentioned like, it's a big struggle, sensitivity. So like I guess on a practical level, it's like being mindful of that. Like, what would you try to tell guys or like help them reconnect?
Right. So it's funny you said reconnect. I have to say this because I saw it on the plane a few hours ago. I love this. It said it gave the Wi-Fi a Wi-Fi option, and it said if you want to who said that? Yeah. It says if you want to reconnect, and I'm like, that's such a no. I mean, we love Elal, so no lashon hara on that. But it's like if you want to reconnect, I'm like, if you want to disconnect, I'm saying if you want to reconnect, go to Wi-Fi. If you want to disconnect, get Wi-Fi. Anyway, okay, I just had to say that. Because that's true. That is a true statement. If you want to disconnect, go on your phone. If you want to connect, have a conversation. Oh, you could have a conversation on your phone. No, you could have a better conversation in person. Yes, you process better in person. That's a fact. That's not going to change. Doesn't matter in 2035, 2045. Doesn't matter from the 1400s, the 1980s. It's a fact. You have a conversation with somebody, not through a device. You're going to connect more. You're going to have connection. You're going to connect. You're going to have more connection. What would I say? What do I try and say? I try and, it's the old negative, I'm negative. Be positive, be positive, be positive. What a negative statement to tell somebody. That's a very negative thing to tell someone. Be positive. No, how about be negative? Isn't that funny? Be negative, meaning you don't tell someone to be negative. But if you're a negative person, what do you tell them? Okay, so you're negative. Okay, welcome to 80. That's the statistic. You could ChatGPT, even though ChatGPT is not always 100% right. They're pretty good. That ChatGPT, right? 80. Someone can ChatGPT it now. 80,000 thoughts a day or whatever it is, and 80% of them, or 90% of them, or 75% of them are repetitive and negative. So you're going to tell me to be positive? Oh, because I heard a shiur on positivity. Be positive, be positive, be positive. That's a very negative thing to say. So learning yourself. I think that's step one, learning yourself. I'm anxious. Again, we don't like that word. I'm worried. I'm scared. I'm insecure. I'm self-conscious. That's a fact. That's what I was saying before. Being honest with yourself. I know that's it's a little cliche, being honest with yourself, but really having someone who could keep you in check to try and be honest with yourself. That's what I try and do. It's not so much like connect my head to my, it's not like, okay, let's take your head and your heart and let's put it together. It's more like I have feelings. A lot of times we're not even connected to our feelings because our brain takes over. Because we don't want to feel. I don't want to feel. So what do I do? And especially if you don't have you have a lack of sleep, you're edgy, whatever it is. So your brain takes over. You need also a lot of, again, I'm not going to get into therapy. You need to work on yourself a lot. You need to really get in there. You have to talk. You have to understand yourself. There's a lot of emotions that get messed over very young. Yeah. Yeah.
Would acknowledging your feelings be better in a situation or a distraction? What would you suggest? Like if someone's been anxious, sad, or depressed, what's a better route? To acknowledge it and then move on, or distract yourself?
Or what was the second thing, or what?
Like acknowledging or distracting.
Right. So, I mean, I think we all know. I think that's why we need each other. We need each other because sometimes we need someone to lean on that it's okay that I'm feeling a certain way. It's hard to handle it alone sometimes. That's why we distract ourselves. Because sometimes it's too much. Sometimes it's hard for me to face whatever I need to face. So I need someone to be with me in my dark. So it's very easy to say, yeah, get off your phone and deal with it. Like that's a very be positive thing to say. Like deal with your feeling. Like it's hard. Sometimes it's hard. Someone who suffers from strong fear and anxiety, it's painful. It's hard to say, yeah, sure, just accept your anxiety. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes we need to distract. But it's important, just to emphasize that, it's important to have support. It's important to have support, all of us. You don't have to be an addict. You don't have to be a certain way to get the support. People think, oh, I have to be part of a support group. We all need that. We'll wrap up soon, yeah.
The things we do not necessarily because we know why we do them, but because our love for Hashem. So we get to the point where we're like, wow, we're doing this one, without any understanding it, without any.
Yeah, that's hard. It's very hard. That's very hard. It's very hard, especially if you were taught as a kid to just listen and don't understand. Just do it because I'm telling you to do it. That's hard. Any relationship is not like that. Someone sent me, let me see if I could pull it up. And maybe we'll end off with this. Is there one more? I'll end off with this. Yeah, we'll daven Marav. Let me see if I can remember who sent it to me. Oh, I got it. Question sent to me. A friend who's questioning Judaism. Okay, so I'm asking the question now. A friend who was questioning Judaism reached out to me for some chizuk. This is one of the chevra sent me this. And I told him that I learned in our yeshiva that Judaism is about having your own personal relationship with Hashem at your own pace, and not to force yourself to do everything, but rather slowly build a real relationship with Hashem. Okay? That's what he told this person. He very much liked this, right? The person liked what he was saying, so I was like, that's good. But he asked for a makar. He asked for a source. I was like, okay, this is great. So he can know this is true before he puts all of his eggs in one basket. So the person asked me, is this true? And if so, is there a makar that I could give to him? Remember, what's the question? A friend is questioning Judaism, reaching out that he learned in our yeshiva, Baruch Hashem. It's about having your personal relationship with Hashem at your own pace. Don't force anything. Build a relationship with Hashem. So I wrote to him. It was good that I wrote to him. Sometimes it's good to communicate through the WhatsApp also. Hi, tell him the makar is common sense. With a smiley face. I don't do emojis. I'm not into emojis yet. Right? That's the makar. That's the makar. The makar is common sense. You want to have a relationship? Gam hu misug ha'oi haven. Hashem is a relationship. That's where sometimes we forget. The Mesil Sharm says, Gam hu misug ha'oi haven. Hashem is a relationship. You struggle. This is a tough one. This is going to be a tough one. You struggle with your relationships, you're going to struggle with your relationship with Hashem also. It's the same exact thing. Where you struggle in your relationship with people, you're going to struggle with your relationship with Hashem. Because it's a relationship. It's a relationship. It's a relationship. You build your relationship with people, you build your relationship, you'll build your relationship with Hashem. Okay, Hashem should help us all. Mamish, Ashreinu, thank you very much everyone for coming. This was incredible get together. We should be zocheh to the Gula Shlema. All of us, everyone should be zocheh to Yeshuas and Achamas for you and your families. And thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.